Our next presenter that's coming on is Tim, and Tim's going to be talking to us about 2Simple. And the product that Tim's going to speak is Purple Mash. And for me, Purple Mash has just been an eye-opener over the last few months in terms of the range of possibilities that you do as a teacher with these tools. So, Tim, I'm so excited that you are here today and that you can be sharing with everybody about this incredible tool called.
Cool. Good morning. I hope everyone is well today. Well, it's almost midday, so good day. Yeah, as Karen said, I'm going to be sharing with you a little bit of information about Purple Mash. Purple Mash is one of the platforms that we make at 2Simple. 2Simple software is where we're from. We've been creating educational content and educational software and tools for kids for 20 years now. This is our 20th birthday in January, so we've been around for a while. And we've always focused on creating tools that have a massive impact on creativity in the classroom. So I'm going to share with you in a couple of seconds here what Purple Mash looks like. Some of you, if you are watching, might have seen Purple Mash before in the past. I can guarantee that Purple Mash changes pretty much weekly. We add new things to the platform. So if you've seen Purple Mash a while ago, you will see things that you've never seen before. Let me share my screen here with you so we can have a look. Okay, the first thing we're going to look at when I share Purple Mash is the login screen. So I only have 12 minutes, and Purple Mash is basically a lifetime's worth of work. So I'm not going to show you everything that there is to show. Basically, when you go into Purple Mash as a school, every school gets their own unique portal. So you'll have your own URL where your kids can log in with their unique usernames and passwords. We also have integration with Office 365 and Google. So if you are a Google school or a Microsoft school, you can use a single sign-on, and that just makes things a lot easier if you're using things like Teams and Google Classroom. Cool. Once we're in Purple Mash, this is what it looks like. It is just a little bit of an introduction to the program. It is a kind of hybrid between a productivity tool and content and edtech tools for your kids. There's a lot to take in here. So if you've ever looked at the program and logged in and gotten a little bit overwhelmed and then left, we completely understand. So from now on, please give us a call and we can go through this properly with you. Basically, we have a few sections in the program. We've got our tools, games, mini mash, serial mash, and topics. Those are our main 5 areas. And then we have some really nice tools for teachers. We have a whole teacher section where we have a full computing scheme of work, which would be your computing or edtech curriculum. If you don't have one, you can use ours. We cover 6 years worth of work in primary school. And it teaches everything from online safety to coding to spreadsheets to basically anything that you can do in edtech. So I'm going to focus mostly on the tools here for a few minutes. Okay, tools is what we've been doing as 2Simple, like I said, for 20 years. We've been focusing on creating really creative edtech tools, and we cover a variety of things here. So you'll see our sections. We've got our language tools, our maths and data handling, communication and sharing, coding, art and design, quiz and game creation, music and sound, and understanding of the world. So every single one of these tools that you look at, or that you can see here, is basically a full software suite in its own right. So we cover just a few things here in the language tools. We have a program called To Create a Story, which is one of my personal favorites. It's been around since when we used to still have CD-based software. Obviously, it's evolved massively since back then. And To Create a Story starts off as a very simple story writing tool where you can use it for any language. You don't have to use it only for English, obviously. And you can get your kids to write their own stories, or you as a teacher can create stories for the kids to read, or you can put in pictures for them to write a story about, or the other way around. You can put words and then they can create a story. In the adventure mode of the story, we bring in elements of hyperlinking. We start to bring in planning for code. There's a lot of things that are involved in the adventure mode story. So if you ever remember reading a book when you were younger where it was like a choose your own adventure, you get to a page and you have to decide what happens next to the character. These are the kind of things that you can make with my adventure story in To Create a Story, where, like I said, we're bringing hyperlinking into the picture here, and a lot of work on planning. Okay. I always feel like I want to jump into these things and show you a lot more, but because we don't have much time, I'm going to ask that if you'd like to see any of these things, you're welcome to send me an email and I'll give you a call and give you a proper demonstration on these tools. So that's To Create a Story in the language tools. We also have publishing tools, so a whole selection of publishing tools, the same kind of thing that you would do in Publisher, but just for your younger kids. They can use it for a whole variety of subjects. Then jumping over here to ToType. We've realized that a lot of people are not teaching typing anymore, but they're moving on to things like teaching code, where if you want to teach someone to code, you should actually really teach them to type. So we've kept our typing tutor in here, and it's been upgraded quite heavily since back in the day when we used to have it on CD. And while I'm there, I can tell you that everything that you do on PurpleMash is assessed, or the data is stored for the teacher to be able to mark. And everything that you open as a teacher, you can set as a task for your kids or for your learners in the school. So these are some of these language tools that you can use. In our text toolkit, the teacher can create grammar games, you can make spelling quizzes, anything to do with grammar and spelling. You can create the quizzes for your learners, or they can create it for each other if you like. We have a mind mapping tool, which is really fun, not only for mind mapping and planning out stories and story writing, but if you want to use it for your coding, when you get to code or to one of our game creation tools, we find it very important to plan. So we have a planning tool there with To Connect in our mind mapping. Then under maths and data handling, we have tools for graphing. We have a spreadsheet tool called To Calculate. So it's a really nice introduction to spreadsheets for your younger kids. We cover quite a few formulas that they can start to learn. It's just a much less intimidating version of Excel that you can start with your much younger children. With To Investigate is basically an introduction to something like Microsoft Access. So it's a database creation tool. Also really, really awesome, that I could talk about for about 2 hours. With To Design and Make, I'm going to quickly open this to show you so you can see something quite fun. To Design and Make covers 3D modeling. So anything that you create into Design and Make as a 3D model, you can either print on paper as a net for you to create and cut and fold and paste together as a little net that you've made with paper, or you can export the STL file and print what you've made on a 3D printer. So for an introduction to 3D printing and just 3D design in general for kids, this is a beautiful program. I know a lot of people have 3D printers in their schools sitting there doing nothing. Now you can use a program like this to get started. I'll make something quickly for you to see. We can add up to 32 points in this design, and anything that I create here will automatically create the net, which I can now print out and cut and make, and it'll show you what the 3D model looks like. Okay, it's really, really easy. As with all of our tools here, the more effort you put into these tools, the more exciting they'll be, and the more awesome the outcome will be, basically. Okay, jumping down here to communication and sharing, we've got To Email, To Blog, and To Connect. We've briefly spoken about To Connect. To Blog is a blogging tool for teachers and for learners. Learners can create their own blogs, basically as a diary for their peers to read. And in the most recent months, obviously with lockdown, we've had a lot of teachers using To Blog to create lessons for their kids. So inside To Blog, you can create blogs with different posts. And in the posts, you can embed videos from YouTube. You can embed videos if you're using something like Screencastify. You can bring in links to other websites. You can put in PDFs, Word documents, anything you want into a blog. And these blogs will then be shown to your children that they can go into the blog and complete the lesson that you've set for them. And inside the blog, they can also leave comments and replies onto comments. So we also have like a little bit of a social media aspect to blog. and it's obviously very safe. Everything inside the Purple Mash platform is incredibly safe. We want to look after your data and your kids as much as possible. So just to let you know, everything is super cool and safe. Okay. Then we've got 2Email, and 2Email is an email platform where we're introducing email to the kids from a really young age. You can start with grade 1s and 2s with the basic version of email and move all the way up to something that looks more like Gmail, where they can email within the school, and it's a really nice communication tool between the teachers and the kids. So there's that. Then we've got some game creation. We have 3D game design, which is beautiful. Again, sorry, I've said this about 100 times, but I want to go into all of these things. But if I go in, it's a big dark hole for me that I won't come out of. So let's do this together sometime if you give me a call. But you're basically creating 3D games here. Then we've got 2Quiz, where teachers can create quizzes for their classes. There's 12 different types of quizzes that you can create, and you can create auto-marked quizzes so that you don't have to do any of the work after you've set the quiz for the kids. In art and design, we've spoken about 2Design and Make. We also have 2Animate, which is a stop-motion animation tool. We've seen some really cool animations come through recently where the kids can create as many frames as they want. They can put in photographs or draw their own pictures and create a full animation using 2Animate. They can also use one of our music tools to put a soundtrack to anything to animate. So if you want to start using the tools together, you can create soundtracks for your games or for your animation and all sorts of things. Then just to end off here, in the tools area, we've got 2Code, 2Go, and Logo. These are 3 coding programs. 2Code will teach your kids JavaScript, so it starts off block-based and then moves into JavaScript. And then we've got 2Go, which is pretty much a floor robot on the screen. And then Logo is, if any of you know what Logo programming is, it's a really nice, easy version, if you could get any easier than Logo. It's just a nice interface for Logo for your little kids. Cool. So that's basically the tools in Purple Mash. There's a lot more that I could go into with our library of books. We have about 200 books here in our reading library with comprehension and activities that go with the chapters of the books. We've got Mini Mash, which is our preschool area for ages 2 to 6. It's a beautiful little classroom. It's like an interactive classroom to do some work. And our games, we've got maths and grammar games, which are basically a collection of games to reinforce concepts that you've learned or are learning in maths and grammar. And then our topics, we have over 12,000 topic-related projects. So if you're doing something like Ancient Egypt, for example, we have projects for Ancient Egypt. Every single one of these is a writing project based on like a publishing project. And teachers can also edit these and make them their own. You can translate them into any language, and you can set these as tasks for your kids to do that are handed in that you can mark online. I feel like I've spoken really fast, so if Karen wants to jump in and tell me how much time I have left, that would be cool.
Hey, Tim.
Joel.
So, doing well. Thank you so much for doing that presentation. It was absolutely amazing. If anyone's watching this and you don't know who I am, I'm Joel. I'm helping out Karen with the show in the background. I asked in a private chat here on the side if I could interview you because I'm so passionate about what your product is, and mainly because 12, 13 years ago, I think I was using Purple Mash at school, and I see that a lot of the things are still relevant today. When we were back at school, we did a lot of the activities, and it's amazing to see how your content in 2020 is extremely important. Have you found a need to constantly update content over the past, say, 10, 12 years, or have you been able to, use the content over the years?
First of all, I love hearing that you used 2Simple stuff years ago. It's really exciting to hear, especially how you turned out. That's pretty cool. So when it comes to updating everything on Purple Mash, we do very regular updates. You won't find something that looks today like it did a year ago. We have to evolve and basically keep up with the times. There are things like I mentioned earlier, like our typing programs and To Create a Story and things like that, that were available 15, 20 years ago on CD, they look absolutely nothing like they did back then. They still have the same impact, but we obviously have to keep up with what's going on. And we are releasing new programs all the time and working on the look of everything. So,
for sure. And to get a little bit personal with you, if you don't mind, I believe that, if I'm not mistaken, was it your mom that founded the company initially back in the day? And I just find it beautiful how there's been a family-run organization in the education space for so long, and it's very uncommon that that's the case.
Yeah, basically a brief history is that my mother owned a nursery school, and she's very passionate about helping kids with disabilities. And she went to go and find some software to help kids on the tech side. And she met the owner of 2Simple in London. His name is Nigel. And this was when 2Simple was just a baby. And Nigel came out here and everyone connected. And she started, basically, she brought 2Simple into the country. And ever since then, we've been very close with our head office in the UK. And then, yeah, it's been years. I was in a completely different industry back then. I was in audio engineering. And I just jumped in to help my mom with technical support because she was the kind of person that couldn't even switch on TV by herself. So I jumped in and started helping out with installations and things. And somehow I just fell in love with education and technology in education. When I left school, I swore I'd never go back. And now I'm there every day, all day. So I think it's just the way that we're teaching kids like this is pretty much what I wish I was taught like when I was in school. So that's how I got into it. And then, yeah, it was a couple of years ago, my mom got really sick. So I started helping take over with everything. And then now she's not working at all. So now it's just me and the rest of the team.
Amazing job doing, keeping Purple Mash alive. And again, how relevant that content is. Even as you just said, I loved seeing the typing component to it, because often kids are just thrown iPads from the age of 5 years old. And you wonder, like, you know, they need to get onto a desktop PC to use a computer mouse and a keyboard. So it's awesome that you guys are keeping that fresh and relevant. So congratulations. And if I may ask, how many schools are you guys in, if that's an appropriate question for the audience? Just, it gives some sort of credibility. I know it's in quite a few.
Sure, yeah. So in South Africa, we're in about 175 schools, which is not as many as the rest of the world. Globally, we are in 7,800 schools round about there. So wow. We service over 2 million learners, which is quite cool. South Africa's been a bit slow on the uptake on the online stuff, but
there's looks like a teacher from Law School Park says that they absolutely love it, and you've got a couple of other teachers just saying that the solution looks absolutely fantastic. So if anyone wants to get hold of Tim, you can email him at tim@2simple.co.za. Check them out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all the different spaces. I've also seen Tim on LinkedIn, so go drop him a follow if you want to go and become part of the Purple Mash family and community. Thank you so much for presenting today in this session. It's been awesome.
Great. I'll just jump in and tell you that when you do join our family, you really do become like family to us. So we are incredibly passionate about having great relationships with our teachers. So you're not just a number to us, you are really like family. So
do teachers get training when they sign up with Purple Mash, or is it just kind of like, you know, hope for the best?
No, we are desperate to get to every single teacher to train them. So we don't charge anything for training. We do a lot of online training. So we often struggle to get hold of all the teachers in the school, but we are willing to train every single teacher, included in the cost of Purple Mash, without anything extra on it.
Cool. So we have a long question here from Charles talking about coding, and then he attempted last year to go to a course in Centurion, and he keeps a good lookout on different courses and seminars. Can someone else help with a little bit more information? Charles, just from my perspective and what I just seen on the Purple Mash site, go and give Purple Mash's coding a shot. I think it looks like it would be appropriate for youngsters, as well as if you wanted to learn yourself. go for it. I don't know if you've got a comment there you want to add, Charles?
I can just say, if Charles is older than a primary school student, we have Neil, also my colleague from 2Simple, is going to be talking at 2 o'clock, and he's going to be talking about our other platform called Python in Pieces. And Python in Pieces is to learn Python from someone that's never even done a line of code in their life to be able to write Python when they're done. So that's what I'll do.
Giving it a watch there as well. So again, with some more information here from Purple Mash, if you want to get more information, email them at info@2simple.co.za, and I'm sure someone will be able to get back to you. Otherwise, go and visit their website, www.2simple.com/ZA, and lots of exciting things happening in the Purple Mash family. Tim, keep up the great work, keep up the innovation. I think I have to pull in one more question. How does a teacher set up activities from Zandre van Wyk? How your system works there?
Would you like me to share with you for a minute?
Let's have a share there. So let's act like you're a teacher. How do you set up the activities and make that work?
Brilliant. I'm going to show you, you can do what I'm doing now with any tool or anything inside Purple Mash. I'm going to give you a quick example. If you're doing something like Egypt and Tutankhamun's tomb, just remember, like I said, any tool can be used the same way. I just click as a teacher on the activity, and you've got launch app or set as to do. As a teacher, I'm just going to say set as to do. You can change the title or the description, who set the task as a teacher. You can add audio instructions for your kids so that they don't just have to read everything. You can also add objectives from the CAPS curriculum. We have all objectives from the whole curriculum or outcomes. And we just go set the date that you want it to show. I'll say I want to set it for today to be handed in tomorrow, as an example. We use repeats for things like typing and maths games. And we go to next, we choose our class. Wow. So I will choose a class. You can also set for individual pupils. Sure. And that task has then been set.
Amazing. And then that student will get a notification.
They get an alert at the top on the alerts bell. It says they have one alert, and it'll tell them exactly what to do. When they complete that, they hand it in. The teacher gets an alert to say the work's been handed in, and they can mark it. Then the pupil gets an alert to say the work's been marked. It's very interactive and a voice note for everything. So
beautiful how you created such an ecosystem so that essentially teachers and kids. I remember Karen, a while back in one of her presentations she gave, she spoke about evaluation. And how do you get that evaluation back as soon as possible? So yeah, I see that this would obviously be a great solution. I assume as soon as the teachers, mark the work or look through it, they'll be able to give the students some feedback.
Exactly.
Last question, and then we're going to have to call in the next presenter. I see Zandre is asking if it also works on Minimash with setting up the activities for kids.
Minimash is very different. So you don't set up the activities in the same kind of way. Basically, in Minimash, you would go and, as being logged in as a teacher, you would create a pin to the top of the program. So they're going to look at, when you log into Minimash, the teachers will create these pins that are on the top right-hand side. So children will be able to see exactly what the teacher wants them to do. When they click on the pin, there will be the work that they need to complete. And the teachers can also upload MP4 videos or any kind of presentations into Minimash. And then when the child has completed that work, they save it into a tray, which is basically like your trays in your classroom.
Amazing. Can any teachers go now to your website and sign up onto Purple Mash right away and create an account, or do they have to come through you guys first?
No, not at all. You can go to 2simple.com, and on the homepage of 2simple.com it says sign up for a trial. You just start a trial. You'll get your email immediately to start your trial. We'll get notified that you've started a trial, so we'll contact you and talk you through it and need some more help.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining today, and have a great day, Tim.
Thanks so much, Joel.
Cheers.
Have a good one.
So that was Tim Holliday from 2Simple showing his Purple Mash solution for schools, and there seems to be some amazing things there.